Hi and welcome back to Quad Pod. I'm Al Yates, regular presenter, as we all know. Thank you for downloading and liking and sharing and all that sort of stuff that goes with it. What a week it has been. We did our charity event, an evening with Brian McDermott and guests and friends. Standing joke is that I now need to call Mr. Kevin Miller Sir Kevin Miller from this point on, as I forgot to put his name on the front page of the presentation originally. Anyway, what a great evening. We had the Adam Stansfield Foundation there. We had Jay Stansfield there. Danny Bailey was Danny Bailey, lovely, absolutely brilliant individual human. Kevin Miller came down with some of his friends as well, and obviously Brian McDermott, and actually quite taken about how well the evening went, bearing in mind there was a big discussion related to Brian's journey with alcoholism and mental health in football. And above all, if there's a message out there and somebody's not happy, please do talk to somebody. And it's good to talk. Right, other people to thank. We did the auction. Beery, what a great job. Mr. Ashford, what a great job getting all the prizes. There were a few skateboards given out, and a couple of paddle boards and some swimming pools. Absolutely amazing. And who could forget Giles, Master of Ceremonies, did a great job. I want to say thank you to the collectors as well that went out, and I think we had just under 100 there. But the best thing about it was that we actually raised £2,000 for charity, which is what it was all about. So £1,400 to the Adam Stansfield Foundation. We also gave £500 to the Stay Free Foundation, which supports women with young children that are suffering from mental health issues, and it's actually Russell Brand Foundation. Really great cause, well done him. And we gave a little thank you to our friends at the Trust who supported us behind the scenes. What more to say? The best part for me was the breakfast Saturday with them in the Southgate Hotel. Little shout out to them, they did a grand job. And also to the Heaventree Social Club, who could forget them as being a great venue. And then the game Saturday, won 5-0. What a great result, and what a great insight sitting next to those two players talking you through the game. And quite clearly I don't know enough about football yet. Look, everybody was brilliant. Everybody give themselves a pat on the back. We hope to do another one. In the meantime, we've got a Frenchman with us. He doesn't need very much introduction to Exeter City fans. And if you can spot the obvious mistake and call in once you hear the recording, please do come back to me. For the minute, enjoy the show, and we give you a Frenchman who is an incredible midfielder for Exeter City. All right. Hello, welcome to Quad Pod. This is going to be episode 14, and this is a really great Ecstasy football player. We've come slightly younger, although I think he played for us unbelievably. Last couple of games were over 10 years ago, and I could not believe that when I did the research. He is 5'8". I thought he was taller. And for those of the audio, he's just like, wow, that may not be right. So, because everybody knows that I get things wrong, particularly with appearances with Wikipedia. He's known amongst Exeter City fans as La Crunch. He is the first Frenchman to come on the show. So, je me présente, Monsieur Bertrand Kosics. Welcome to Quad Pod. How you doing?
Very good, Al. Thank you for having me here.
C'est mon plaisir, Monsieur. My pleasure. I know I speak very bad French, so I'm not going to keep talking in French for obvious reasons. But looking at your career, right, what we tend to do is have a look and see where you played. Now, I think you played 106 times for Exeter. You made just under 150 appearances in English football, right? And I'm really keen to ask you about your early career. But you came to the UK in, I believe, your first touch of English football was around 2002, 2003 with Team Bath. But it doesn't show any appearances. Did you have any appearances at that point?
Yes, of course.
I thought you would have.
Believe it or not, I scored loads of goals for Team Bath.
Right.
Believe it or not. And that's why you are going to see where I'm going with my own career as well, or the question you might ask later on, you might. And I scored lots of goals. I had a great time, especially for the first, say, 6 months overall with Team Bath.
So how did that all happen then? Because a little bit about me. At the age of 16, I went over to France and stayed and did a bit of stuff, and then came back to school. What age were you then? And how did you get involved in Team Bath? What was that all about?
So I started my master's degree at Bath
University.
But in Rouen in France. So Rouen is an hour up north of Paris.
Yes.
So I started my master's degree in sports management, and I was bored. I was bored of the teachers, the way they were teaching. It was just theory. So when you arrive at some point, you want to put what you learn into practice. So I quit, I stopped, and I had to reflect, obviously, where I was going next. And the only way to work in sports marketing was to be able to speak English. Obviously, my English was not great. But then I thought, okay, with Erasmus Exchange, with the EU fundings which enable students to experience another country, another culture. And my university in France was then linking with Bath University. So I came over here to get my master's degree, but obviously not an English master's degree. I would have still to go back to France and do my exams.
Okay.
Anyway, so that was the starting point. And then because I play football for a little while in France, I thought, okay, why not to play football over here as well? And like this, you can meet some friends, and you're going to learn quicker the language, learn about the culture.
Yeah.
So I started with Bath City.
Okay.
And on again, started well, score my first goal in a friendly game. But then I was training by myself on the campus. And Paul Tisdale, so obviously saw me on his page, and he was not happy seeing someone, not just necessarily a player, but someone kicking a ball on his football pitch. So he went towards me, and he was talking to me but me, I didn't have a clue about what really he was saying, because, like I said, my English was not that great. And he just invited me to do a few training sessions with them, and that's it. Kick off from there.
Really?
Yeah.
So in the nicest way, slightly by accident.
It was by accident, and then he just explained to me after that the way their concept, I will say what concept was working, which was fantastic. Bringing some old players or some young players or from scholarship, or those who have been pro or didn't get a pro contract, to then be able to train twice a day, to keep yourself fit, learn from him as well, because he was obviously a former pro himself. And he was had a great time there. It was really attractive to to get there, following what he was saying to me on one experience.
And was Matt Taylor with you at the time? Or
No. Matt Taylor arrived either the second year or the third, maybe. I'm not sure.
And
because I went to Cheltenham, so I left. I just played for a year for them. I'm sure Matt Taylor, it was 4 years maybe after, because I came back. I came back just a few months to play with them. And I think Matt Taylor joined them then. So, no.
Okay. So you say you went to Cheltenham. I know you like scoring goals. You scored 1 goal in 7 appearances there. Were you playing as a striker, or were you playing in midfield at this point?
No. Just being the striker. With Team Bath, I was center midfielder. So we used to play 4-4-2, at times 3-5-2. But with Cheltenham, it's come back to what I was saying earlier. You see, I had tiny issue with how to control my emotions.
Okay.
Funny enough, isn't it? Is every season I always feel good. I always put focus on football. On you want to improve. You want to be in the starting 11.
Yeah.
And show what you can do every single season. Unfortunately, when you feel tired, as that was my case, when I was feeling tired, suddenly I let negative belief controlling me. And that's why I didn't play many games with Exeter City. Because my game has not been consistent. And back with Cheltenham, it was the same. Started very well.
Yeah.
Then Bobby Gould, so the manager at the time, put me on the wing. And for whatever reasons, I didn't like it. And instead of, taking the lead on having a conversation with the manager, saying, okay, how I can improve in this position? Because I'm not comfortable. What you would like me to do? How I can improve? How I can enjoy my game in this position? And instead of asking myself this type of question, it was opposite. Why am I playing this position? I don't like it. And that's so negative. So then an injury comes in.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like. New manager came in as well, because we had a bad run of form, and obviously I had a short deal with them to start with.
Yeah.
So the manager, bye-bye. Tough journey, but that's the reality of football, and that's the reality in business as well. If you don't perform,
but you kept pushing though, because you ended up. If we go further forward, play for Hereford for a couple of games, then went to Northampton and started playing more near me. Then you went to Kidderminster and then played a few games. And then what happened with Aldershot Team Bath? You ended up going back to Team Bath, yeah? Is that right?
Yeah. Because I was a bit lost. Again, because at Northampton I started very well. If you have a look at the report, I had some great games. Lose form a tiny bit, and then let negative belief here until the mind. And that's why when you read back, some old pros where they've been struggling with injuries, all those things, as they go into alcohol or drugs or whatever. And that's the thing, isn't it? That's where people don't know what's happening off the field.
What's going on here?
Yeah. People think you are a confident person on your body language show that, but actually no. And doesn't mean I was not confident all the time. It just I had some phase where I was not able to control my emotions. And that was a killer through my football career.
Well, and if we summarise that, and for some of our younger fans, I'm going to describe. I'm going to ask you the question. Actually, what would you describe as your style of play for a young Exeter fan who's listening to this? I think I know what I would say, but I'll let you describe yourself.
For me, I was a box-to-box center midfielder, hard-working player, which is willing to do the dirty work. The true fans will know me for that because the manager, so Paul, had the game plan for me. And sometimes a fan might criticize me because he didn't see me enough on the ball. But that's the thing. You got a game plan, and if the players follow it, then you might get a positive outcome. And sometimes you got to be willing to do that. So some people need to shine a bit more than others. But those who don't shine do the dirty work, which people don't see.
And do you know what? I think doing my research, I looked at the Internet Forum X-Web and searched your name. And one of the things that came up was exactly what you said. Prepared to do the dirty work, hard-working, central midfielder, exactly. Also prepared to put a tackle in. Now, I know that I'm going to turn this to positive because although there's 7 clubs there, and I think over 9 years, there was 5 years at Exeter City. So an Exeter, and I know that you said yourself you had injuries, was quite a good time for you, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I had a great time. I had some tough time too, but overall, great times because I had a great relationship not only with the manager, with the coaching staff, but with the fans too. And that's important, isn't it? Because if as a player you don't enjoy where you are, then it's not great.
And we're going to come through to some of your games because I've done quite a research on it, and it'll be interesting for what you've just said there about how you were feeling in certain games. But before I do, right, let's go back to a little bit of your background. Quimper, born in Quimper in France, in Brittany, southern part of Brittany. Now, I'm going to ask a coded question. SE1 supporter?
Yeah.
Is it your football team? The Merlus?
Les Merlus? No, me.
Oh, no.
I know. You see, there's a difference. When the French are not, we're not the same as you guys, as the English. When you're born somewhere, you're going to support your local team,
Yeah.
And that's really powerful. And in France, for me, I've always been Marseille.
Oh, really?
Because of the passion of the fan, because of the way they were playing football, and they have to fight for the shirts. So for me, I admire that. I admire like people really like fighting for the badge, and that's how represent me on the pitch in a way. Marseille has been my team.
And a quick random thing here to link what we just said, because I was hoping you were an FC Lorient fan because it's near there.
Yeah.
And I actually went to the Stade Velodrome and saw, Marseille lose to FC Lorient. And the interesting thing about what you've just said about supporters exterior, away fans, right? I think there was only 10. This is a Premier League game in effect. There was about 10 away fans because it's a considerable distance, as we know. But also the point you make about you follow other teams. So you're a Marseille fan, right? So not the orange of Merlin. You've just shattered a dream of mine. So I was sort of hoping that you might. So the matches you played in, I'm going to go through some of the big ones, right? And I'm going to ask some of the stories, trying to get it in the right order. I'm going to start with Leeds United away, 8th of August. The best part of 3,000 Exeter fans. First game of the season, I think. What was it like? That was a big game.
I think, and I tell you what, I'm doing a DIY course at the Minute at Exeter College in evening. A DIY course. And there's a football fan there. So obviously support Exeter City. And he was there at that game. And he said to me, when we score on free kick, I don't know what happened. I just went towards the goal and he went towards the pitch. And he has been moving away from the ground, expelled from the ground. No, the Leeds game, I tell you what, in England, that's the thing with a new stadium nowadays. You don't create the same atmosphere. And no ground like Ellen Road was fantastic. You could hear you guys singing, really be honest, but at the same time, you could hear the supporter as well, really like pushing them on the, fantastic. Because it was nearly 30,000, 28,000, 30,000, the crowd in total.
28,000 and 2,940, I think.
There we go. Yeah, nice.
And there's the great story about when they asked about the tickets, and they said you can buy 1,800, 3,000 or 5,400. And apparently our secretary turned around and went, we'll have 3,000. And at the time they were like, you'll have to pay for them all in advance, no returns. Yeah. And the Exeter secretary said, we'll have 3,000. And we took 3,000.
Yeah.
So a great game, but unfortunately the free kick, like you say, the best bit. And you talk about fans that were locked, that were expelled. I know an Exeter fan that ended up in court. He was expelled, and I wondered why I hadn't seen him for a few months at the football, and that was because he was pushed onto the pitch that day. So the same season, Huddersfield Town, last game of the season, in the rain. Yeah, they were dying, weren't they?
That's Ryan Harley, isn't it? Who scored the goals, isn't it? And again, the atmosphere in a stadium was mixed, isn't it? Because we were fighting to survive.
Yeah.
You see, like you talk about two Yorkshire teams, so Leeds and Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Who play in Premier League. Atmosphere great, the tension on the pitch, the way we play the game. Again, all these memories, and you won't find these memories in France, you see, in the French games. You won't see that. You won't see the passion from the fans, only in top leagues. Never in second, third, or fourth division. Never like that.
Can you remember the team talk? What was said beforehand? Do you remember?
For that, no, I won't remember. But Paul has always been the same. He has never been like someone's going to show his emotions or suddenly is going to be, showing his other pressure or be really enthusiastic or try to force it. Come on, guys, to try to motivate us, because he motivated us through the week. That was his thing, isn't it? It was not just on the match day. On the match day, at the end of the day, it's all down to us. The manager will be there just to say a few words. Maybe I have time just to reflect on a few points on how to improve things, following how the positions Sudani is playing, or if we are on the part. But it always been the same tone, to be proud of yourself and to play for you guys, the fans. It keep really simple. He gave us the role, the task we have to do through the week, and then that's it. He repeated the same word, the same sentences before the game.
I'm hearing a theme about that comes from people who've interviewed footballers. Sean Devine, I interviewed, and he turned around and said before the Manchester United game a few years before, just need to keep it simple, right? And managers that keep it simple have a good reaction, I see. So we've survived, right? Then starting the next season, 2008, 2009, we had a bit of a mixed season, right? Curzon Ashton, we lost in the FA Cup 3-2, bit of a killer.
Yeah, again, like what I always talk about is, even if the training ground, what happened on the training ground, everything was spot on. Yeah. Paul was saying on Friday, you got to be ready here, because they are going to go for you. And That's the thing. As a manager, you can say all the thing, but if the players are not controlling their emotions and not using the words, the right words, what's coming with controlling their thought, then when you arrive there, suddenly it's like, okay, it's a non-league team. It's not as glamorous than at St. James Park, and you think you are going to smash them, and you don't.
Yeah, we another 10 minutes we might have been lucky, and I think even as a fan that day, we could feel that we were in a lion's den, and that they wanted our blood that day. But
on again, that's the beauty of the FA Cup, and that's why sometimes when you see some championship teams or club, if they are not up for it, those who play lower leagues, they are going to give everything, and they are going to take this opportunity to show what they can do. So that's why when you are a bigger club, you got to be ready. You got to kill the game quickly.
Indeed. And so we walked away from that. And by the way, I've got a poster from one of the lampposts of that day, my FA Cup memorabilia. Yeah. I've got it somewhere. And I took it down, and I thought that might be worth some money one day, give it to the museum. Following on from that, we then had some interesting results. We lost 6-1 at Chesterfield, which I won't go on about. And I noticed that they played 21 appearances that year. And I've seen my first sending off of a player. Was that just a double yellow? I don't recall you being a violent player. Can you remember?
Which game was that?
Morecambe away?
Well, Morecambe away. I always talk about Morecambe away because a few fans have been telling me, talking about this game, my answer or my reply always been the same. If I caught him, because this player, I can't remember his name, but I know he used to play for Hereford, and he was talking in my ears all through the game. Okay? So, and again, it's how you control your emotions.
Yeah.
And it just like I said to everyone, even to the ref, when you jump, you got to use your arms. You can't just jump straight without moving your arms. And if I really wanted to catch the dude with my elbow, he would have been bleeding. That always been my same answer because, in all honesty, he didn't have any bruise. And that's a problem with sometimes the referees up north. If you're a team from the south, sometimes referee gives them, they got a bit more support from the ref, a bit more help from the ref. That was, to me, like it was a nonsense. Like, no bruise, no blood. Come on. Did I cut him? No. Did I mean for elbow? No. So, therefore, it's not a red card. That was appalling. That was appalling.
I love your answer to that. Because I don't think I was at that game, and I was a little bit surprised I didn't recall. But you played 21 appearances that year, had a fairly solid season. I think that you, again, I think you had some injuries as well at that time. You talked about injuries, yeah?
Yeah, but that year, I can't remember the exact year, but I had a pull, for example, a bit my quad, inguinal ligament, so for my tummy. Two operations for that. It was like my first year as well. I pulled my hamstring. So I had a few injuries, not massive injuries, but a few which hold me back. And then and again, like I was mentioning earlier, then the thought in your mind, because let's be honest, when you're on the bench, when you're not in the starting 11, you are surrounded by players, unfortunately, who wants to be on the pitch. Therefore, they are going to be a bit more negative. And if you are in that spiral for weeks and months, then it's very difficult to get out from it. You have to be really strong-minded.
But you have done, all right?
Of course. But it's to be consistent with your performance and how to improve as a player. That's the difference. That's the difference.
And I think central midfield, you're always going to pick up injuries by the nature of what you're doing as well. But I'm going to move on to a big positive, right? Another big positive. 2006, 2007, Torquay United 1, Exeter City 4.
Yeah, big game again for the club.
You made me very happy that day.
It was a big game, and again we had a game plan. Me, I was there just to play the first half. That was a game plan.
Really?
I knew already. Yeah. It was to play against Hargreaves.
Right.
Chris Hargreaves. To play against him, destabilize him a bit, and then Ryan Harley is going to come on.
Okay. And that was, I love that. Right? I love that. So you're in the dugout, and what are you thinking while you're watching the second half?
But at first, because we were 1-0 down, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, 1-0 down. So what going through? You can only go again. You can try your best.
Yeah.
But suddenly, like for whatever reasons, everything clicked.
Yes.
Everything clicked, and them that destabilized them. Even then they were playing at home, they were like, wow, they didn't know what to do.
Yes.
And they didn't know what to do.
And well, we all know what happened, and it still lives long in the memory. I'm going to bring you to another big game, right? Well, actually, I think this is going to be a humorous one, because I'd like to know what you knew about was happening. So Sheffield Wednesday away.
Yeah.
Last game of the season.
Yeah.
Again, big following from Exeter for us. Right? Nothing to play for. Troy Archibald Hemphill obviously scores.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. That I don't think he'll ever. Well, he ever scored a goal like that before. But did you know what was going on with Paul Tisdale?
With Paul Tisdale. So now you said to me, do I remember exactly? It's a little while ago.
Did you know he was a sub?
Just like this, like you got me on the spot.
Sorry.
Honestly, I can't remember. If he was anywhere he would have to put his boots. So I'm sure we knew then he was there, but I didn't know the full story behind it.
Because the story goes that he'd only
was it
Marcus Stewart? He turned around and had only told him and put the team sheet in without people realizing. Is that right?
Honestly, I can't. I've never been into details for that, so I honestly don't know. But it was a great surprise. To be fair, he did quite well. You could see him like leading the team on the pitch. It's a great story again, and that's why when you play for Exeter City and you got some great moments like that, if you are in a bigger club, it won't happen. So that's something to talk about.
As he ran on, do you know whether anybody turned around and go, Paul, what are you doing? All right, boss.
No, I don't think so. It's just like you should get on with it at the end of the day, isn't it? When decisions have been made on our football pitch, you got to think quickly anyway. So you just like, okay, here we go. He's on the pitch. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, there's some games I've picked out. What are your personal high moments? Would you say? Think that we may not have heard about with Exeter.
But with Exeter, like one game which back, but already like Huddersfield, Leeds United, I've got great memory for this one. One which I was on fire at that time, it was St. Albans when we played conference nationwide.
Yes.
We play at home and we beat them, and I scored my first goal there. And
4-2.
Maybe, yeah. It was a nice score. Nice score, yeah. I wasn't confident. And then towards the end of the game, that's where I felt my hamstring.
Right.
And next game, I think it was Southport, where I started the game, and after a few minutes, I said, no, it's not possible there. And that, lost momentum. When you're on fire, you feel good about yourself, higher confidence, to suddenly being injury. Unfortunately, but that game was a good one. Brentford at home, League One.
Yes.
That was a good one. It's a shame. I don't think so. I played Plymouth Argyle. You see, that's me. What we say, one of my regret under Exeter City shirt to not play Plymouth Argyle. I was on the bench, not on the football pitch.
Yeah, not happy.
That's one of the regret.
Really. We've got them coming up in the league. Yeah, and I'm going to summarise because we've talked about your games, and for our younger readers or viewers, listeners, sorry, you played quite a few seasons for Exeter City in what is League One, right? Yeah. And it's not unnoticed, and what comes out in your career is how you battled your way through, and you played in League Two a bit, you played lower, but you had your best years in League One, I would say. So I'm just gonna put that out there. So in terms of you're in Exeter now. I knew you stayed in Exeter, right? Because and I never got. You talk about regrets. Never got to your restaurant at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of crepes, right? But that's because I live out of the area, right?
That's it. Yeah.
So you're not doing that now. No. So what are you doing now? What are you up to?
Well, for the last 8 years now.
Yeah.
So I've been into fitness. I've been a personal trainer, loving sports, and it's helping people to get fit. Now that was my first thought, and after a few years, you got to recognize why do people give up?
Yeah.
Okay, so you start doubting about yourself a bit, like, am I a good coach? Because it's all about coaching at the end of the day as a person, not necessarily the presenting problem. And I've been thinking about, like, okay, what is their real problem? Why they can't keep the same diet? Why they keep doing yo-yo dieting? Why they don't turn up to the session? Yeah. Why is that? Why nowadays, when you got so much information, people get more overweight? And I've been talking about mindset for a long time. And like I was saying earlier, for my limiting belief about myself as well on the football pitch. So it's not just regarding fitness, it's in every part of our world. And I've been studying hypnotherapy. And hypnotherapy, obviously, like any strength or conditioning coach or personal trainer or doctors, you specialize where you want to go. Yeah. And I just found a mentor which really, like, I don't know, I should get into her. And the way she was explaining things makes sense to me. So therefore, I can explain to the clients. And for me, is to get to the root cause of my client's issue.
Yeah.
So the root cause, not the symptoms. So when we talk about weight loss, when you're overweight is a symptom. So as a personal trainer, you are going to focus on exercise and you're going to help your clients to eat a bit less or, create healthy habit. Yeah. But that's one thing. The thing is, even if you do that, the chance for you to go back to square one and put on weight again are quite high because you have not resolved the root cause, the emotional issue attached to them. So when I talk about the root cause, it could be something minor, it could be something tiny. It could be, for example, you got parents and you got siblings. And your parents will say, why you not like your brother? Your brother is so sporty. He's always outside. You stay in your bedroom playing games. Or it could be a teacher, never praising you. And it could be something major, which is more traumatic, abuse, sexually abuse, bullying.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to internalize a belief about what happened to you. Okay? So you internalize that, and then overall, society is going to reinforce that belief. So society tended on expectation. And from that, this belief is going to appear in the form of anxiety, depression, or any other behavior you don't like. Taking drugs, alcohol, shopping. If you don't feel good about yourself, you might have this habit to go shopping to feel good for a short period of time. So that's what I'm doing now. So I am a personal trainer, but also a hypnotherapist to really break free from the beliefs that hold you back.
Do you know what? That's generally really interesting, and I'm hoping you may have seen and you may not have seen. But I'm going to do a shameless plug at this point. The 24th of March, Friday, at the Heavy Social Club, Brian McDermott, former Exeter player, Leeds United and Reading manager, is coming down, and it's in aid of mental health charities as well as the Adam Stansfield Foundation, and it's a subject quite close to my heart, actually. So I'm glad that you've picked up on that. Please, if you're around on that Friday, you're in Exeter, come down on the 24th of March. I'm sure, I know Exeter fans would love to see you. You've kept it very quiet. So for the benefit of the listeners, I actually asked where he was living, and he said, "Oh, I'm living in Exeter still." I did not know, Bertie, that you were living in Exeter.
I am more English now than French, apart from my accent, all my attribute, I love England, and I'm married to an English woman as well. So
Brilliant.
I've been living here ever since.
So, question about French players coming across. Right, here's one. Do you think it's more difficult now with the changes that have happened, or do you think French players are coming or not?
I think it's definitely more difficult because I don't know the full extent of the rules of the UK law now.
Right.
If you go to a club who say, "Okay, we want to sign you," I presume that's for you to get the permit. That would be okay. But for you to come and do some trials, or it's definitely harder. It's definitely harder.
And what was your going before Bath? Did you play for a youth French football team or a club? What were you doing?
I was playing for Quimper. Quimper was fine. They were in League 2 at the time, so the second division in France.
Yes.
But me, I've never been into a football academy.
Right.
You see? However, I tried to join Guingamp. So Guingamp is in the center of Brittany.
Yeah, center of Brittany, yeah.
So I joined them when they play in top French, so League 1.
Yeah.
But I was playing I was training with the second division and the second team and third team. And I just played for a year, again, because I was not happy, because I was playing center-back suddenly, and I was not really happy there. So I stopped football after that for a year.
Really?
Yeah. So it's that's the thing. I always said, from my own experience, I got no regret whatsoever. But like to any youngsters who listen here, the best way to succeed in football is how you can control your emotions.
Yes.
How you can control your emotions and how you can focus on a goal and stick to that goal no matter what. If you want to be a Premiership player, focus on that. But then what as a different step you need to do, you need to apply to be able to reach that goal. And for me, it's all about the thought. Do not let anything. And for me, one player who stood out, who did play in Premiership, in my time, was Jimmy Mackie.
Yeah.
Jimmy Mackie. At the time, when he came to Exeter, or if you talk to other fans, you were not necessarily like thinking, wow, what a player. He was not scoring goals. Even when he started with us, he was not that great. But suddenly something happened. And I tell you what, the belief he had about himself, honestly, unbelievable. He always said, I should be here. When we were training away into a Premiership side, I should be here. And I tell you what, he proved himself. Honestly, unbelievable.
Yes, he did.
Belief.
And he's still in football, yeah? You know what he's doing now? He's a reporter.
Yeah, with Sky Sport. With Sky. I don't think so he does anything else apart from that. But he's got, honestly, confidence, the belief he had about himself, and nothing will stop him to succeed.
Yeah.
Ethan Ampadu, for knowing him a tiny bit, the same. I didn't know about, what's his name, the striker. The striker who played for Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins.
Same thing. You know, if you are focused on what you want to achieve and you are going to apply on a training ground and do extra session and learn from the best, from those who are in your position, you got great chance to succeed. And I've never done that. You see?
Yeah, no.
That's the difference.
It's funny when you talk about Jamie and Ollie. I saw the change in him because he came in and he looked quite a quiet character, and then all of a sudden it was like bang, and then I think he scored. I'll get this wrong. He scored 12 goals in 15 games or whatever it was. Went on a run. And it went crazy. So and same with Ollie Watkins. He was quite a shy guy at first, and now look at him go. So are you connected to the club? Are you doing anything with the club at the moment? Just out of interest.
No. I was doing before, like I was with Community Trust. I've done some stuff a bit in terms of fitness, in terms of with NCS as well. I did a bit of fitness when Paul was there the last season. So I was working, for example, with Ruben Reed.
Yeah.
So I was doing 1-to-1, and by him, he scored working with me. But it's not just me, obviously, but suddenly his behavior changed, and he scored 7 goals in 8 games. And he was not just good on the pitch, but off the field as well. And that's the thing. So it's not just focusing on the task ahead in terms of how to score goals as a player. Is to be a better person and try to understand your teammates too.
Yes.
Because if you understand how they play the game, you will understand how to make your run. Or as soon as a player got the ball, you know what he's going to do with you.
Exactly. And I think that, I mean, it brings us on to this season. I think that we are going through a bit of a transition, but it's starting to people see where they are. I mean, how do you think Exeter are doing at the moment in the league and stuff?
Very well, because you got to pause a minute and to think the teams above you got huge budget on his clubs with tradition who play like Premier League or Championship level. So Exeter City, where they are right now, and when you see the training ground as well, the stadium is fantastic for who we are. It's unbelievable. So again, if you got the right coaching staff and you got the right support and you got the players who buy into the club's philosophy, you can push on for playoff. Is it going to be this year? It's a tough call, but
No.
if you carry on, it'd be nice to see Exeter rewarded in playoff. After that, it's a massive call. Championship is different story. And
sorry, it's interesting. Sorry, I get told off for talking. I apologise.
Go ahead.
But when you say about the mindset, I actually think that Exeter, as a supporter, as a club, we need to change our mindset slightly because we're very cautious, quite rightly so. But like you say, we've now got a great training ground. The stadium is modern. It was much better now than when you were playing in it, as we both know. And I think we need to, be a little bit more confident about what we're doing. I'm not saying that we're going to get to the top of the Championship or Premier League, but what I am saying is you're coming to Exeter City now. And to your point, I think there's some work that we could do personally around that. So I welcome your thoughts on that.
Yeah, but it's I think behind closed door, you will never know what's happening behind closed door. You will never know what they talk about. You will only assume. And as a fan, you only assume. I know a tiny bit of Julian Tag, but you see, like the team is going around him.
Yeah,
he's got some skillful people on board. If you see the academy, wow, the staff they got and the way they've been promoting the players and going through the first team, be able to sell them and making millions on top of them to reinvest into the infrastructure on other department is fantastic. So I will agree with you at some point, maybe to say, here we go, we're Exeter City. But I think with what you see as well on the training ground, players are going to come there and say, wow, it's a proper club. When you see the stadium now, with the new stand as well, it looks proper football ground. We are in League One, and I think now is to cement this status in League One. We're not in League Two, we're in League One, and we're going to push further. And what the club done is to build a foundation, but not to go too fast, too quick, because that's a problem sometimes when you're a bit too greedy. And when you think you are doing so well and you want to keep pushing and you keep putting money, but you have not stabilized yourself in the league. And sometimes it's better to do that and go from strength to strength. And that's where you bring people, like you can see with the new manager, Caldwell, who brought more people in his coaching staff, because there you go. Now I build my team around me because I trust them. I know what they can bring to the club, to the players, and as a top, Julian Tag doing exactly the same. So at some point, we might be lucky to see Exeter pushing, but it's a slow process.
We hope so. And do you know what? One of the other things that we should be proud of is that we always seem to stay connected to players like yourself that have played for the club, and they have a good feeling about the club. And talking to you today, I have seen that, and that's really nice. And do you go up the park? Do you actually watch games now?
I've not been able to do it because my priority was my kids. So my wife for a few years was working on Saturdays, therefore I was looking after my kids. So I've not been able to do that. But when I've been to a funeral, unfortunately, of Ivor Double, I met some old pros there as well. And I say, when are we going to see you? So it's I will try, probably not this season, but next season, because they're a bit older, and to try to pop in now and again.
Good. And at this point, I'm going to say you are very special to Exeter fans. I'm not just saying it. I got asked to interview, and I wanted to interview anyway. So, en français, merci. I'm going to say bonne journée. Superb weekend, right? Thank you very much for coming on. It's been so enjoyable. And I'm going to leave you with one silly question that I got asked to ask you is, what is your favorite English cheese? Don't ask me why.
It's simple, isn't it? Cheddar. Of course, cheddar.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
It can't be anything else. Cathedral cheddar.
Cathedral cheddar. That's it.
Simple, so, I'm really simple. Cheese, French cheese, camembert. I don't go around funky or funny names or funky cheese. Simple. English cheddar, French camembert, glass of red wine, a bit of salad, nice, a bit of bread. There we go.
Is that the plan for this evening? Yeah. Sorry for doing this on a Friday afternoon. So
that's good. Bertie,
yeah, you've been superb. Thanks for coming on, and I might ask you to come on again in the future and do a bit of punditry if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, no problem at all. That'd be a pleasure.
Don't be a stranger at the park as well. You know,
I know, but like I said, like more next season, because they're still young, 4 and 5 now. But yeah, I would come.
It's a good age to bring them. We'll make them City fans. Yeah.
There we go.
Merci. À bientôt.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hi, well, Bertie Kosics. Firstly, merci, Bertie. What a guy! I love his vavavu, shall we say, his love of football. And do you know what? They're talking about the psychology of football quite clearly. He was a confidence player, and he needed to be loved, and he needed to be feel loved, which he is down at Exeter, as we all know. I'm glad he's found his home, and I didn't realise he lived in Exeter, so we must get him down to the park. I think he'd get absolutely great reception. So his stories about Jamie Mackey, that was really interesting for me. Again, a little bit about football psychology, and it just shows you that when the times aren't so good, that you sometimes need to stick by people, give them a little bit of a hand. And I would say with where Exeter City are at the moment, after 4 back-to-back home wins, things are pretty good at the park. And, big well done to Gary Caldwell. I know he's had some interesting results, but I do think he's now starting to play with a style that we recognise, a new identity, and the players are certainly bought into it. If you see Jay's reaction, scoring against Barnsley. So I hope you enjoyed the show. And again, just a thought that came into my head, the 4-1 at Torquay, great to hear the plan that Bertie was in to play one half and actually be a game changer and bring on a finisher. I love that sort of stuff in football, and we all know that Gary Caldwell is doing that as well. So, end of the show. Thanks for listening. So many more coming up. We'd like to give out a few more clues, but we're not going to. We've got 3 shows recorded. We're doing another show tomorrow. Tonight is Thursday. Just keep watching the beautiful game. See you at Fleetwood. Good luck, Exeter City. And then we know what's coming. Let's get ready to rumble.